First Thanksgiving by Kimberly and James Dean. This is one of them flip the flappy books. Look out, Pete, it's a wave! Pete the Cat is copyright by James Dean, and it's published by Harper Festival, a division of HarperCollins. Pete was nervous about being a pilgrim in his class's Thanksgiving play, The First Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, you're nervous? At least you don't have to play the part of the turkey. You know what happens to the turkey at the end? I do. Just do your best. His best friend Callie said, yeah, stop being a whiny puss. Pete said he would try. Imagine being a pilgrim back in those days when they were sailing over the seas. They had a lot more reason to be nervous. So get over yourself, Pete. He was ready. I'm ready. He pumped himself up. He punched himself in the face. Just kidding. He didn't do that. His mom had even made him a pilgrim hat, which was really cool. That's not a hat. That's a turkey, Pete. Look it. And that's not even a turkey. That's a man's hand that he just traced around and then gave it a beak. Good flip the flap. You could have made it on the lunchbox to see what he was eating for lunch. Or you could have had it on the turkey. You flip it up, now he's baked. Pete took his place at the front of the giant ship that his class had made out of cardboard. How is that gonna float on water? Pete was a pilgrim on the Mayflower. If I ever buy a boat, I'm gonna put Pete at the mast. He could be like one of the mermaids that they used to put on the front in the old days. Remember? Imagine Pete as a mermaid. Oh, whoopsie. Sorry, wrong bed sheets. Geez, Pete, look, there's a banana. In 1620, a group of pilgrims decided to leave England for the New World to build a new life. It was a long, long trip on a big, big ship. All the pilgrims sang. Look out for all the blue sharks. The sea was rough and very dangerous. Many pilgrims got very, very sick. You don't look quite like yourself, Pete. What's wrong? Can't handle a couple of slappy waves? Rock the boat, now rock the boat, Petey. The dream of a new start in a new world made the hard trip all worth it. For more than 2 months, the pilgrims sailed. I remember when I had my calendar from 1620. I saved it all this time. Did they even have calendars back then? Like this? I don't even think they had days back then. It was so long ago. They wondered if they would ever get there. Some say they're still sailing today. Pete, you're not even putting the thing up to your eye. You're putting it up to your nose. You don't smell land with it. After 65 days on the ship, the New World finally came into view. They got tired of waiting, so it just came to them. Land ho! Look, Pete looks like a flower in a flower pot. Land ho! Pete cried. All the pilgrims did a happy dance. I don't think that's historically accurate. How do you know they did a happy dance? They started doing a happy dance, they all threw up. The pilgrims arrived in the New World at Plymouth Rock in what is now Massachusetts. They started playing Minecraft. Everyone had many chores to do, like growing food, finding water, building a house out of French fries. They couldn't decide whether they wanted to paint it blue or brown, so they went with both. It just looks like a stained mess. Look at the size of this French fry. They were probably given the task of building the house because they did such a great job with their tree house and building shelters. They're not even standing in the window. Those are just paintings of Pete and Callie. They just put it on the front so it always looks like someone's home. That's a fancy door for back then. The first winter in the New World was long and hard. But thankfully, they lived in a dome where they could control the weather. In the spring, the pilgrims had to decide whether to give up and go back to England or keep trying. Well, what did they do? What is the New World? Is this some kind of cult, Pete? The pilgrims had heard about the Native Americans, and many worried that they would not be friendly. So they shot him with a bunch of arrows. They're sticking out of his neck and his head. Pete had never met a cat he didn't like, so he thought they would be kind. Kinda rude. He planted the corn, and a cat grew out. Ah! How did I get here? Where did this corn come from? Pete was right. He made a new friend in Squancho. Squanto and the other Native Americans showed the pilgrims how to grow crops like corn, beans, beans and squash. Squash the corn! By summer, the Pilgrims had learned how to farm the new land. Yippee! This was also the first time that anybody has ever heard a fart, because no one had ever had beans before. It happened and they were like, oh, what was that? Pete, you farted! By fall harvest, the Pilgrims had plenty of food. I see nothing. To thank Squinto and the other Native Americans, the Pilgrims invited them to share the harvest. He's like, look, this is Guinness World Record for biggest slab of butter. They all ate cheese for the first Thanksgiving. I made this turkey, and then I laid the corn on this plate to look like a turkey. You can tell he's the chief because he has a lot of arrows in him. This guy only has one. Do you think they tried the trick where they pull the sheet out from underneath the food? Pete's like, watch this! And all the food goes flying across the room. It didn't work. So then they waited until next year, and the second Thanksgiving became known as the first Thanksgiving. Pete was relieved when the play was over. So was I. That was some good acting, Pete. He had remembered all his lines. What?
Oh, I never thought about how hard it was back then,
said Pete. No. They didn't have YouTube tutorials to show them how to do stuff. They had to actually do it. You know, figure it out. How do I make a custard pie? Well, let's just go on YouTube or maybe look it up on Pinterest. They got the stage all dirty. Too many beans. All right. They both passed out.
You did great,
Callie said, and then passed out.
You did really good. Hey, what the heck were you? Huh? Oh, I think I passed out.
They both just snapped their necks. They're like, the play's over. Later, at Thanksgiving dinner with his family, Pete said,
let's all go around the table and say something we are thankful for.
Pete's mom said, Pete's mom got slapped in the face with the flappy flap.
I'm thankful for my family,
said Pete's mom.
Aw, that's adorable. She's such a sweet mom.
I'm thankful for my skateboard, said Bob. Seriously?
Oh, well, all right. A little rude, but okay.
Your mom's like, I'm thankful for all of you. Skateboard. Way to go, Bob. Way to spoil the family moment. What do you think of, Pete?
I wish I was on a boat. I am thankful for the brave pilgrims that started this new free world,
said Pete. Where's your dad?
Is that your dad?
Seriously, where's your dad?
What are you thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful that I get to read your books, Pete. And I'm thankful for all of you. Seriously, thanks for watching. Okay, bye. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like. In other words, hit the thumbs up. That's the like. And if you want to see more of our videos, go ahead and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell. It'll tell you when more of our videos come out. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next reading.